Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, and hey, happy Wednesday. Hope you're having the best Wednesday possible out there in good old cryptocurrency, and hope that Santa brought you all the red dildos that you wished for on his good old lap over there. He's a very nice man, isn't he? Or if it's just another Wednesday for you, well, happy Wednesday. Hope you're having the best Wednesday possible, or it might even be your birthday like Elsa. So hey, happy birthday. Happy birthday to everyone out there. Hope that you're getting everything that you wanted ever that you could ever wish for. Anyways, get on over here to live scene, and before I forget to remind myself, all my programs are on sale for the rest of the year, which is another 4 days or so, with the code HOLIDAY20, so 20% off. That is the Technical Analysis program, the Options program, and the Jewel Indicators. Understand that all these programs are designed for the true diehards in mind, the people who really want to learn how to do this in a more serious way, in a more professional way, as this is essentially what I go through on a day-to-day basis to do this as a living. That was the purpose of these programs, and that is essentially who they are designed for. Just looking to learn a few things here and there about technical analysis, definitely check out my free resources. This is going to be complete overkill. It's not for you. It's not, it would be completely unreasonable. So check those out. That is the Introduction to Technical Analysis playlist, and then once you've kind of mastered that, graduate onto the Technical Indicators playlist. And then, I mean, obviously I have my streams as well, which is, thousands of hours of free content as well. So definitely check those out. I understand that this is going to be completely unreasonable for most people, but hey, for the people who really want to go one deeper, that is for you. Okay, so let's get in the live scene right over here. Let's switch it up to the good old Bitcoins and a few things. So I really haven't been able to be too active with my own trading materials this past few days, because I'm over here in my girlfriend's parents' house in the middle of nowhere in Finland, which is actually really fucking nice, and really nice to get away from the charts for a few, here and there. But I don't really want to be taking active trades. Now, if I were, and it's not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but if I was looking at this, thinking exactly what I'm thinking right now, I'd be saying, hey, you broke the 21 exponential right here on the daily. Looks to me like you're probably going to get rejected on it today. I'd be taking a trade off that and using that to manage my risk upon. That is currently around 37.88 on GDAX, which should be pretty damn similar to all the other exchanges except for, the Tether ones. Overall, we're going to have to go down to the lower time frames to get the full-on dissection, but we can stay here for a second and just denote a few more things. Not only that, but you did have regular bearish divergence going on right over here. I think we talked about that yesterday, so this is just kind of playing out now. What happens after you get that bearish divergence? Well, you'll typically come down at least into the bearish control zone. Also, we do have hidden bearish divergence between this point and this point right over here. Essentially, we are in the context of a downtrend. We are making higher highs on our oscillator, and we're making lower highs on price action. So again, putting all these pieces together, it just seems kind of likely. Also, daily Stokes over here, kind of crossing down as well, and we got our DMI ADX not giving us anything either which way. So it's not telling us that there's like a big sell signal at all. In fact, just for reference, the last big sell signal that we got was on the drop from 6,000 right over here, and since then we haven't really seen anything change. We saw a few tries by the bulls over here, but it never really amounted to much. So yeah, overall, that would be what the higher time frame, the daily, I wouldn't necessarily consider this a higher time frame, but hey, keep that in mind. We're gonna have to go down to lower time frames to kind of clear this guy out. But overall, 4 hour right here, or actually, I want to speak specifically on the 3 hour, because I think you can gain a lot from that. But basically, this blue box territory right over here that we've been looking at as kind of like the area of defense for the bulls, that really don't want to see that area broken, as it would imply, at least in my mind, that Bitcoin is very likely to kind of find itself back at its prior lows, whether it's like 3250 or 3300, whatever it might be, somewhere down around this range. I'd imagine if this area actually gets fully broken. The fact that we've already had a couple tries at it, and so far it looks like a rejection to me, does not bode well. But hey, at the end of the day, the game isn't played on fucking paper, it's played out on the field, man. So again, you need to see this area like actually broken, and of course there will be supports along the way. Will likely be bounces along the way, but I think that very likely you'd find yourself down around here. Not only that, but in this blue box territory, not only do we have some nice horizontals, but we also got the 3 hour 200 simple. So I do like that for good confluence coming in right over there. But more importantly, and the reason why I think that this is more likely to actually break is I'm looking at the green 55 exponential and the purple 200 exponential right over here. They have been death crossed ever since the drop from 6,000 right over here, or maybe even a little bit prior to that. They got golden cross for just a second right over here, and then it was a fake out to a full, to what I probably am comfortable in saying is a rejection right here, confirming the death cross. So whenever I see something like this, it is typically indicative of a nice move likely coming, or just kind of also confirming the actual trend itself, coming back down. So I do think that this probably has some more gas to it. Obviously we're still relatively immature in what's going on over here, so it could pop back up, but I think that that's less likely right now. Of course, when it comes to technical analysis, all we can talk about is statistical setups and all that good stuff, but if I'm giving my opinion, I think that it does come down. I think it could certainly take some time, though. So again, when we're talking about these sorts of ideas, I always want to be very, 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 very clear with myself and remind myself, as well as the people here listening to this content, that these things, we talk about these ideas and they can take some time to play out. Now, yes, I do these videos every day, but I think it's one of those deceiving things that, like, we can be talking about something that could happen, in months, in some cases. So always have to have a perspective of that. Anyways, okay, so back now over here. What are lower time frame oscillators saying? Stokes over here actually pointed up on the 3 hour, so I do actually like that. But DMI is giving you actually a fresh sell signal over here. It did time you a beautiful short back now over on this guy right over here. So giving you the same sort of signal going on right now, and that is, well, it's not good. Jewel over here is kind of a little bit of a wild card. It can still go either way, so not too much to say about that just yet. But again, I think that there's certainly more things pointing down than up. Let's go check out CMEs, because there's something very interesting to be aware of over there. Yeah, they're right over here. So CMEs they were closed for Christmas, right? No trading going on during the 25th essentially, and they opened up, I guess, late, I guess really early on the 26th. So there's a massive gap between where we are right now and the 4,000 level, or 4040 if you want to get really specific. Typically speaking, you will pop back and fill that gap. But again, going back to the conversation that I was just kind of having with myself, but it can take a while to come back. But this is going to be a sell, or going to very likely be a sell is what I should say. So again, what I'm kind of thinking right now on the overall picture for Bitcoin is we're going to get something very similar to what we got at the 6,000 level, where you came down and you based at the 6,000, and you rallied off, came down, based, rallied off, blah 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 blah. You get, you fucking get it. I don't think it's going to take this long. I don't think it's going to take like a fucking year. But hey, right over here, it could take its time. Again, going back to that other conversation, it could take well into 2019 to actually play this guy out. So overall, do have to be aware of that. I think this is best seen actually on the 2-day dildo time frame. Yeah, so again, the 2-day dildo time frame, you had your bullish divergence down around here. You pop back up, test the 21, and then sell off it. So we're bouncing off it, classic play. And again, just kind of likely to pop back down. People are going to call this an inverted head and shoulders. It's not. It's not by any stretch of the imagination. Just to get that out of the way. If it were, it would probably have a more flat neckline, or maybe even be slanted slightly up. But the way that I look at this right now, people are going to call this, man, they call everything a fucking, an inverted head and shoulders. So there's nothing new there. But there is something to be aware of over here on the daily, and that is essentially this. A broadening wedge that we are starting to fill out more and more. We have 3 touches on the downside and three touches on the upside. So that does make a trend, and the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. Although, to me, this is typically a bullishly resolved pattern. In fact, Bitcoin has a good history of resolving these to the upside. But again, going back to that former conversation of timing, this can take a long time. Bitcoin can very easily pop back down and, fill out the lower support of this before busting through the upside. I mean, again, these are all statistical type things. Does it have to break out to the upside? No, I've seen plenty of broadening wedges break out to the downside. It's just more likely, statistically speaking. But again, that's why you don't play one until you actually, close a daily dildo above this area right over here, above, I guess it would be about 4,000 now. So if you could do that, then you would have a measurement probably pointing you back to about 5,000. I imagine, just eyeballing it. I don't really want to do it. I don't really want to do it out right now, but it's gonna be somewhere around there. Let's go check out GBTC. GBTC did close. Yeah, so GBTC is gonna be very similar to CMEs, right? Because they closed on the day before Christmas on that half day. Pretty up over here. Pretty up. Pretty up. That's good fucking English, Krown. But basically, are we closing up? Are we regaining the 21, or are we, and maybe more likely, creating a rising channel right over here? And mine's not perfect right now because I'm just like fucking around with, you know, lines in the middle of the morning. But something like this, right? Something like this. Let's see if we do have any sort of divergences going on over here on the 4 hour. We do have a little bit, but we also don't necessarily have a stopping point just yet. There will be a nice gap on this guy though, down around here, right around the, well, maybe we need to go down to the 4 hour or the hourly. Yeah, down around here, right around the $4.37 mark. So where would that be in correlation to current charts? Well, that would be around that 3,600 number that we just spoke, or that we kind of began this stream with. So again, 3,600 is going to be very important. Does it? Do we pop? I mean, I think it's likely that we pop back down. Does it actually bounce it back up again? Well, I hope so. If you're bullish. Although I am bearish, so again, I'm not really trading too much right now. Did I show my positions over here? Hopefully I did. I'm only playing options right now just because it's a lot more manageable when basically not being able to be at my computer like all day long. But that's what I'm looking at over here. You guys have been watching this P&L crawl onwards and upwards. The 42.50 strikes, I closed about 20 of those because again, I just don't want to have too much risk going on. I mean, in hindsight, I could have easily kept them open, and that would have been another, I don't know, like $1,000 or whatever the fuck it might be. But overall, you know, my streamer account, it's more important to just you know, what's it called, protect capital rather than like put on big positions right now, especially during these times of the year. But hey, yeah, if you want to learn how to do that, go check out the options program. So back now over here, you know, just looking for clues on what's likely to happen over here. Yeah, you know, your GBTC would be saying that we probably do bounce. But again, you know, as long as, I mean, now from a higher degree of perspective, as long as we're below about 4,040, which would be really right around here, although we could just use this area right here, 4080. You know, I got to be looking at this as like full-on bearish control. I mean, it is full-on bearish control what we're looking at right now. There's no secrets about this. I mean, absolutely not at all. You've been having, just in the most basic ways, lower highs and lower lows for over a year now, for literally over a year. So again, in the most basic of ways, I mean, that is a downtrend. This is why the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. People will play Mr. Bottom Catcher all day and all night fucking long. That could be taken maybe poorly, but we don't judge around here. Whatever dildo size you want, you can have it. Anyways, you know, when it comes down to it, you know, people will play Mr. Bottom Catcher when just, you know, looking at this, you can very easily see that the trend is down. All you have to really be doing is looking for shorts over the past year and just wait, essentially. I mean, obviously you have some guys who are just way over leveraged, they get shaken out, but there's, you know, that's always gonna be part of the game, man. People who are, I mean, like, if these moves are really shaking you out, you are over leveraged. You are over leveraged. And sorry, I do say that with a little bit more of a stern tone. Again, not trying to be your dad or anything like that, or tell you what to do. It's not my intent at all. But understand that those are designed to get you out. If they quite literally are liquidating you. So, you know, keep it real with that, because that is, though, you know, it's by no mistake that a lot of the time, if you've noticed this, where, like, you know, a counter trend move will go against you and you'll get shaken out, you'll get liquidated or whatever the fuck it might be, and then it moves in your direction like almost instantaneously after. That was completely designed for you. And again, the bots and the algorithms, the more sophisticated ones, they can actually figure this sort of thing out. When I was trading in the traditional markets as a market maker authorized trader, there were people working on these sorts of algos to go along with their bots. So, you know, they have the capabilities to do it, and I'm sure that they can do it in crypto as well. And in fact, I know that they can do it because, well, my friend's firm does also crypto as well. So anyways, you know, just be aware of that. anyways, okay, we checked out that. So I think we have the lower time frames pretty set on this guy. I don't really see any reason to change my mind. Sorry to round out this discussion until Bitcoin's back above, you know, 4080-ish area. If Bitcoin gets back above 4080-ish, or maybe it makes a higher high, that would be crazy. Then on the daily, because obviously you do have higher highs on, like, you know, 4 hour in the lower time frames, maybe even up to a 12 hour. But do we have one on a 12 hour? Yeah, we do actually, right over here. But that was kind of met with bearish divergence as well. By the way, 12 hour also closing a couple dildos below the 21 exponential over here as well. But hey, you know, just be aware of that. That, you know, as long as you're below basically your prior high, you know, 4080, whatever you want to call it. I guess you could more leniently say 4080. I would be looking at this and looking essentially down, looking for this to probably to kind of find its way further downwards until we get back into the muddy section right over here. So again, you know, bounces likely along the way if this area does break. Again, I'm speaking way out of turn here because 3600 is not necessarily broken just yet, but you got this area right here, 3550. Then you got this kind of block right here. Do I want to have this whole thing in? Not really. So I guess we can get this one out right here. You could say this guy right around here, 3450. It's gonna be like every $100. I'm gonna guess. Yeah, 3350 right over here, and then you start getting into like the real muddy section down around here, 3250. This kind of bull trappy area, bear trappy area. So yeah, keep your eyes on that one. Let's go over the higher time frames now. I don't want to do like a full dissection of the higher time frames, but if you're interested in that, definitely go check out the playlist titled Long-Term Analysis, as that will be directly you know, about longer term analysis. But I'll just go over it briefly right over here. Weekly over here telling the story. I mean, you don't have to do anything. I mean, trading the weekly is pretty fucking simple, man. We knew to be closing shorts around this 200 simple right over here, or at least, again, it's not financial advice, not a financial advice. I just use we, sometimes colloquially speaking. But hey, you know, it was a good idea to be closing shorts on the 200 simple at any given, you know, any time that you are popping back down to there. And we're going to look at an example of a different market that's actually getting there right now. That we've been talking about for a while as well, and I'd be saying the same thing. Even if you do have a little bit of a hang below, it's very likely that you do actually, you know, at least bounce off it on the first pass. And we have had a decent bounce off it on the first pass, but you can see right here a very clear rejection right at that purple 200 exponential moving average. Again, you don't need to make it too difficult on yourself. I mean, you could be going off of higher highs, higher lows, but I prefer exponentials and to a lesser extent simple moving averages. And I'd be looking at this saying, yep, as long as you're below the purple 200 exponential, and when I say below it, I mean both opening and closing weekly dollars below it, I really don't see any reason to be like, I mean, bullish is not even the right term, but like thinking that the overall downness of this period of the market is over. Until that happens, you know, I'm still kind of sitting back and looking at this and thinking to myself, I think I'll be looking for shorts. By the same token, we went over the 21 exponential on the 2-day dildo time frame. That is still harassing price action. I think the 3 days is going to be pretty much the same thing. The 3 days is actually quite nasty over here. So yeah, you're gonna have hidden bearish divergence on the 3-day as well, and you also have the 3-day dildo death cross going on right over here. Again, only one other time in Bitcoin's history that we've even ever had this go on, which was right over here in 2014, which actually did send you onto your red dildo capitulation death. But again, not really seeing the same sort of reaction that I've seen in past times. Again, when you look at the volume characteristics on this is deceivingly high right here. It's really not that high in comparison to what you did over here, because volume is measured in coins, not dollars, on Bitstamp and most of the exchanges. So if we could look at it in dollar evaluation, then you're going to notice very, very quickly that this is like grossly overrepresented on the regular. In fact, the green that's been taking us out of the low 3000s level, I mean, that's like 500% below on a 3-day. Let's actually look at a weekly maybe. Yeah, on a weekly it's going to be even more. I mean, you know, and remember, this spike over here, this was mainly selling. You know, people are looking at this and just saying, that looks like capitulation. It's like, no, it's not. It's not by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, first things first, look at the volume on this. Does this look anything, you know, similar to what we did over here? No, of course not. Okay, rhetorical fucking question. But overall, over here, you know, this was a major red dildo. Then you slink below it another each and every one of these is a week. So that's another like 3-4 weeks below that area. And then you have this green over here, which looks good on the regular volume metric, but on the dollar valuation, you can see very clearly that it is nowhere fucking near what you did in your parabolic cycle right over here, literally 650% lower. So again, yeah, I would say that that's quite anemic, or maybe not quite anemic is the right word, but what I'm really looking for is something going on over here. I'm looking for something similar to what we did right over here when Bitcoin was essentially in this area, you know, doing your traditional capitulation, very, very violent capitulation. Again, capitulation doesn't always need to come like this. It can come multiple ways, you know, but it's an emotional feeling is what it's really gunning after. So you can create that emotional feeling. You can conjure up that emotional feeling by either a very violent move to the downside or a drawn out, you know, long just lull at the bottom. It needs to cause the same emotion. That's a key. That's a key of this, of despair and just a loss of hope. So again, this one, obviously the more violent one, which can very easily cause that because it just scares everyone. And you know, a lot of people think that we're not going to get it like this way because people are aware of what it looks like. That's actually a very good point. We could get it the more like lulled form, where you just gonna go the lulled form, where you go, you know, sideways for a long amount of time. That's very, 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 very possible. So do be aware of that. You know, it's the faster you do reach your lows, the better. But this can take a long time. There's no rule for this. There's no rule. But what I am looking for is some volume analogous to what we did over here. That's why we kind of went through the dollar valuation right over here. To me, this over here looks very similar to what you did right over here. Again, market cycles, they're not identical or anything like that, but they are, you know, they are similar. They share brotherly characteristics because we're all dealing with the same sort of emotional conditioning, you know, that we as humans just naturally have because we basically all came from like the same, you know, DNA and all that good stuff. You know, unless you're some sort of like enlightened monk, you're probably going to be subject to the same sort of emotions that the big market movers know that people typically are. So it's only a matter of time to actually create something like that, and especially if you are, you know, reliant on Bitcoin as some form of like life substance, I suppose, or you know, if you use it for your day-to-day and you don't have any sort of like other external way of generating income, at some point financially you will be forced to capitulate because you're gonna like quite literally need money for food. You know, just like how people say that gold is a hedge against the markets. It's not. It went down 30% in fucking 2018, or sorry, 2008 when everything else went down. So does that sound like a hedge to you? Not really. Only to Peter Schiff, because he's selling you fucking gold fucking credit cards, which is just crazy to begin with. I don't even know what that whole thing's about. Again, I don't care about gold or silver or anything like that, man. I do not get the silver bugs though, man. Like, I can understand the gold bugs, but I really don't get the silver bugs. That one's pretty funny. Anyways, so yeah, let's round out the discussion. So for all three things that I'm looking for actual capitulation, I'm looking for volume. Again, we don't have that. I want to see something similar to what you did right over here, just like right over here. You did something similar to what you did right over here. I want to see a percentage reaction. I want to see something that is grossly in your face of a bounce. Right now, we have a bounce of about, well, really it's about 25%, we'll call it. Over here, your bounce in the span of literally a week from top to bottom was 100%, but if we use from wick to dildo body, it's like 69%. This is a lot more reminiscent of what you did on this area right over here, where, funnily enough, everyone thought that the bear market was over right over here. You had all the people on crypto Twitter, all the people on crypto YouTube, and all these great social media venues telling you about how you're an idiot for trying to short this area and how you're stupid because you know, or just arrogantly and obnoxiously claiming like that Bitcoin's superiority because it went down a shit ton and now they think it's bottomed. Well, you have the same thing going on right now, and I'm sure that a lot of people recognize this as well. But you know, you had like a 35-40% bounce right over here. Again, we have about 25% bounce in a week span so far. It's not good enough. Really, what I'm looking for and what capitulation actually does look like is not giving you 3 days, 4 days to buy the actual low down around here, or like 5% within the low. It'll give you about an hour. It'll give you about 1 hour. And we'll go through a few examples right over here. You have a great example right over here. in February of this past year when Bitcoin went down to 6,000 for the first time. Well, for the first time since like going up to the moon. And within 4 hours, you bounced literally more than our current bounce right now. You bounced 27%. Within the day, about 50% or whatever it might be, is about, you know, something like that. So again, that is literally more in one day than Bitcoin's done in a whole week. Almost done in like 4 hours too. I mean, that's pretty crazy. Maybe if I do this properly, we can go all the way back over here. What date is this? This is the 10th of January 2015. Okay, so let's go to like a 4 hour, and we're gonna go to the 10th of January. Okay, how do we do this? Yeah, okay, cool. This is gonna take a long time. All right, we're gonna do it though. 10th of January 2014. 10th of January. Wait, did we already get there? No. Okay, almost there. Yeah. All right. I know my months. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. So let's see if this works. Okay, great. Yeah, here it is. So this is 2014, and let's just look at the reaction over here. Again, in 2014, you do have. You actually do have a couple stabs down here, but here, if you actually measure this out, this is literally like 6.5% higher on these couple stabs. Now within about a day, you are up 27%, very similar to what you did, you know, on February 6th of this past year, and like by end of day, you were like 50% up. Again, like almost double what we're doing right now from the current bottom in literally over a week. So you don't have anything like for actual capitulation. I don't see like the three things that I really look for. And also just from a broader perspective, I'm not really interested in considering that the bear market is really over until I see something that's like very obvious capitulation, or something that meets all three of this next criteria. First things first, I want to see a daily little uptrend. I want to see a higher high on the daily. Don't have that. Okay, so strike one. That's the easiest one to do. Then strike number two is I want to see a weekly dildo both opening and closing above this purple 200 exponential moving average right over here. So far we have a nice rejection. Strike number two. And then strike number three is our breakdown point going into this whole, you know, more intense downtrend was the breakage of 6,000 right over here. You know, basically our consolidation area that Bitcoin stayed up above for quite some time. You know, just kind of using that area's consolidation in the 6,000 range, getting stuck there, and then finally breaking it. So as long as we're below there, you know, that would be the more obvious way that I'd be looking for. Now, of course, if Bitcoin actually did do the weekly and open and close the weekly dildo above, you know, the 200 exponential, I would be really changing my tune overall. But the last and final piece, the one that would make it like no more questions asked in my mind at least, and I'd be looking for like long-term longs, is back above 6,000, the breakdown point. So again, I am long-term bullish on Bitcoin. Again, I will be buying Elsa, you know, the biggest fucking titties possible at 20,000. You don't even want to know what I'll be doing at 50,000. But you know, you got to call a spade. So I'm just kind of tired of people, you know, telling me that I'm a fucking stupid bear and shit like that. Because, well, I know this guy Money Machine Gun. He's gonna call me. He's gonna say, "I told you, no more shorts." It's like, what? Shorts have been the best fucking play for the last year, man. Shorts have been the best play for the last year. Again, longs were the best play over here for 3 years prior to that. Hey, no problem with that. But over here, not so much. Not so much. But hey, you know, again, my life becomes infinitely fucking easier when Bitcoin's in an uptrend. So I'll just leave it at that, man. Okay, so we covered that. Let's go check out traditional markets. They'll be opening up later today, and we have something very interesting to talk about over there. Remember the 200 simple moving average that we spoke on Bitcoin? Well, SPYs have gotten all the way down here to the 200 simple moving average. I would be closing my shorts down around here. Again, I don't care if it goes lower. It very well could go lower, but I think that it does take some time, and I think that that it's a lot more likely that you bounce right around here. This is not only just your 200 simple moving average on the weekly, but it's also the measured move off this head and shoulders topping formation over here. It's also some nice historical trend lines coming in right around there, and some good volume profile action going on there as well. Not only that, but you can see that that essentially there are a lot of bad things really happening with this chart right now. The yellow 20-minute exponential is crossing the downside of the green 55 right over here. Now, I would be... Now, with that said, you know, yes, it looks bad. I think that this thing does go lower, but over time, again, that very important metric, time, is what I'm looking for. So I don't think that I don't think that you just break this on the first pass. You probably do have a hang below it and scare people, but it's I think it gets bought on the first pass before week's end, which is tomorrow, because it's already Thursday. Or is it Thursday? Or is it Wednesday? I don't know. If it's Wednesday, well, whatever. You know what I mean. Anyways, whatever day it might be, it doesn't matter. You get it. So if this area does break, yeah, I start looking towards, you know, the 220 areas, the 215 areas down around here. That is kind of what I'm looking for overall. You know, if things got really bad, which I don't think is really worth talking right now, but SPY will be back down at the area that I actually used to trade it at, which was like 180. 180. I actually used to trade it when it was down around here. This is fucking crazy to see it even all the way up over here. And again, if you're new here, if you're not familiar with me or where I come from or my background, I used to be a market maker in equity options. My official title was a market maker authorized trader on the floor of New York Stock Exchange ARCA. So I actually used to actively trade this guy, and it's interesting to see him in hindsight now, you know, like a year later. But hey, you know, overall, yeah, I am bearish on this. Yeah, I do think it comes lower, but I think in the more immediate time frames, it probably bounces just like we spoke about on Bitcoin. You know, just like we spoke about on Bitcoin. It's gonna be I know that's very difficult for general audiences to hear, because it's like non-black or white thing. It's like, okay, which way, up or down, long or short? It's like, oh my fucking god, man, can I just tear out my eyes now and never mind, I won't even finish that sentence, but you know where I'm going with that. Anyways, MVT signal, sorry, I forgot to show the MVT signal on Bitcoin as well, but we'll just show that really quickly. MVT signal on Bitcoin saying that, yeah, you have plenty of room to the downside again. This thing is called every top and every bottom in Bitcoin's market cycle history, and we are where things typically do bottom or get a little bit lower. It is still, the oscillator is still quite high in comparison to that. Okay, just jumping around like a fucking maniac right now. I do apologize about that, but that was important. I did forget that. Overall, though, let's go down to the daily on this. I am looking for a bounce at some point. Let's actually get this right, make a straight line. I'm looking for a bounce some point, at least to like 247, 248, something right around here. If things did get all the way back to 254.5, I think that would be a little bit more of an obvious trade. But the death cross is just playing out now. It's just taking over and kind of running things right now. So next kind of test that we get on the 21 exponential, the yellow line right over here, I'd probably take a trade off that as well. But as you can see, it's pretty far away from price action right now. Okay, let's go check out XRP, because I know people are going to yell at me for that. XRP right over here, 36 cents. Yeah, big rejection on XRP right over here. I think perhaps best seen on like a 2-day maybe. Nope, it's not on a 2-day. 3-day, yeah, 3-day, wow, 3-day is really nasty. So 3-day has a 3-day death cross right over here. This is, I don't want to say it's the first time that it's really had it, because it technically did have one before in like 2014. But this is the first time in a very long time that it's ever had one. Just like Bitcoin actually, in a clear rejection off the 200 exponential right over here. So is this going to play out? Well, I'd say it's likely. Funnily enough, the daily does have an uptrend, right? You're making higher highs on a daily, but on a 3-day, you're not. You're actually not making higher highs on a 3-day right over here, especially if this one is to end here or lower, which does end later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So keep an eye on that. Definitely keep an eye on that. Overall, if this does end like this with a massive wick to the upside, that's really fucking bad. Really fucking bad. So again, I'm looking at this and I'll be thinking to myself, if you do see this one end like this and you see us trade under the current low of this at like 36 cents, I'd probably take a trade off that. Again, it was in the conversation yesterday that it could have been that we could be seeing like the beginnings of bifurcation of the market, with, you know, some alts making uptrends while Bitcoin is still in a downtrend. You know, maybe you have to be a little bit more conservative with the alts and looking at the higher time frames, because yeah, the daily isn't an uptrend, so that is interesting to me. But let's go check out Mr. Buterol. Sorry, and let's actually talk about this. If this one does start falling down, where is it likely to come back to? Right around here, right around what is this? 33.5 cents. If that area fails, it'll probably get stuck in the mud, just like Bitcoin, somewhere down around, you know, 31 cent area. So yeah, by the way, just hitting the 200 exponential on the daily and then down. Let's go check out Mr. Buterol, see how he's doing. Let's see if he agrees, because he actually had a pretty damn aggressive uptrend right over here. But again, this is a rejection at the 100 exponential to me. Also the 618 Fibonacci retracement right over here, and then down right after that. So to me, yeah, this one is kind of likely to probably pop back down at least to like 118. Let's see the 3-day. 3 day is going to be extremely likely to be an uptrend no matter what. I mean, unless we no, it is an uptrend no matter what. Yeah, because we close this guy up here. So Butyrol is doing something different. It is doing something unique, and that needs to be accounted for. The thing is, I'm looking at this and I mean, this is not, that's not a good sign right there. This is just a retest of this prior swing low right over here, kind of the area that we said. I think I said 169 is where I'd likely find resistance at. I guess I was wrong by a few bucks, but hey, you're not gonna be fucking perfect in this game. Actually 163.5, so I'm off by I don't know, $4 or $5, whatever it might be. But again, same thing on Butyrol over here. 3-day dildo death cross, 3-day dildo death cross right over here. Come back, test the 21 exponential, and so far rejection. So I think that this is going to likely be, with the information that we have now, this is likely going to be a rejection and probably follow through with the rest of the market. Extremely heavy volume on this rejection as well. Certainly more volume than the green dildo is bringing you up into here. So to me, this is probably likely to follow Bitcoin as well. I'd still be looking for Bitcoin. I know yesterday I was talking about perhaps witnessing bifurcation in front of our eyes. I think looking at this and considering this. That is a less likely possibility right now. Obviously, I'd want to see, for me to really believe it, I really want to see a weekly uptrend sustained for months and months while Bitcoin is going the other way. To really say for certain that we have bifurcation, but just a 1-3 day dildo going up above, perhaps not. Okay, so we talked about that. I think that's probably where I'm going to wrap it up today. Again, I'll actually be heading home a little bit later, so this will be the last day with my blue mic over here. So we'll be back to the full-on setup pretty damn soon, doing some more live streams and later nights. We got dogs going crazy everywhere, but but it's all good. Let me just get back on to Bitcoin right over here. I'll wrap this bitch up now. Let's go down to the hourly. Yeah, so Bitcoin. Okay. Let's just kind of denote all these areas. I'm gonna get rid of this guy right over here. That's not what I'm looking for. It's this guy right here that I want to have my eyes on. And this guy over here, I'm gonna raise to. I want this really around. It's just more important to get this right around the 40-20-ish area where the CME gap is. Or sorry, not the CME, but the GBTC gap is. No, it is CME. Yeah, CME is right over here around 40, yeah. So I just want to rearrange these. Yes, they still are there, but they're just not that important to me. But okay, so yeah, Bitcoin does look like it wants to give another test to the blue box territory down around here. Does it break it or not? I think it probably does. Does it happen sometime this week? I don't know, probably. Again, time analysis is not something that I think is worthwhile, but if you do break this area, that is really the initiation for popping back down and retesting the lows. In my opinion, I think that becomes extremely likely, but again, you're probably going to have bounces along these areas, basically just every $100 down from 35.50 and under. By the same token, if you do break above 38.50, giving the other side some credence, if you do break above 38.50, then don't really see much stopping you from this 40-40 area right over here. Remember, that will be the gap fill in CMEs. I think that's a more obvious trade. It would still be creating lower highs, and at some point we will get back there. I mean, I do believe in Bitcoin long term, so it's just it's a matter of time. But on the first pass, it likely will be a sell, as we'll be approaching it from the downside. So again, that's going to wrap it up for this morning's video. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having the best Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day it is. Hope you're having the best one possible. Wish Elsa a happy birthday, and thanks Santa for all the red dildos that he gave you in your good old cryptocurrency life. All right, guys, I'm signing off now, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.